Hello, Collateral Gaming listeners. Chazzle Dazzle here from the Trial by Error Variety Show podcast. I just wanted to take a few seconds to invite you guys over to what we do. No, it's not video games, but we do invite really awesome and unique bands from all over the world. We dig deep into their souls and find really cool stories to tell you, and there's tons of music every week, so subscribe to us wherever you subscribe to your podcast. We look forward to having you.
This episode of Bonus Round, it is once again video game recommendation time, as Zach and I each list 5 video games from our childhood that we think you should check out. So don't go anywhere, the show starts right now. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, Bonus Round. My name is Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Zachary Gio.
And this is not NPR news. We're just fucking around. Guys, we are a 420 friendly podcast. And yes, my friends, that's what I just said. Okay, whatever. Fuck it.
No, keeping it.
I'm keeping this in. Alrighty. So today is a very special episode of Bonus Round. We're going to be talking about our video game recommendations. And I've already said that in the intro. So at this point, I'm just being redundant. So, Zach, why don't we go ahead with your number 5?
Well, I figured before we get into that,
yeah,
there's some news that we have today.
Yeah, you had
Even
some
though
news.
This is kind of a bonus round, bro. We have some pretty big news. I'll start off with some leaks that have come out through Nintendo. There is some slight information on what we might see this year, because it is the glorious 35th anniversary of one of Ash and mine's favorite series of all time, The Legend of Zelda.
Dude, I'm
This
so
year-
excited because you told me about this beforehand. Sorry to cut you off, but
No, you're good.
But just so you guys know, this is going to be my genuine reaction to this, because I have not heard about this news. Zach just told me right before we recorded, and he was like, "I've got some news for you," and I was like, "Oh shit!" So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. There have been hints and now a slight format leak of a remaster of, once again, them redoing The Wind Waker, but also them remaking Phantom Hourglass for the Switch.
Oh shit! For real?
Yes, and also they're going to do a bundle. Hopefully, they will do a bundle that includes a remastered version of Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess,
No.
an HD remake of Skyward Sword,
No. Yes.
and the Oracle games. So being that the Oracle of Ages game was Oracle of Ages was my very first Zelda game. So if this comes to fruition, I am going to be a very, very happy boy. I love this right now because we're recording a bonus round, and I just saw Ash take a fat swig of, is that vodka?
Yeah, it's vodka.
Heck yeah, dude.
I chased it down with
Beautiful.
some Coke.
Yeah, cocaine. Good stuff.
Yeah.
But but yeah, no, that's some really big news. When I saw that yesterday, I got very, very emotional and very excited. Now, granted, those are just leaks, so nothing is 100% set in stone. But knowing Nintendo, they did something really big for the 35th anniversary of Mario. And so since Zelda is also, like, it's literally one of their flagship franchises, I can't see why they wouldn't go out with it. And I really hope that all of this happens. If they've taken all of this time to make all of these games better and bring them to life, that is going to be huge for Nintendo, because these games will blow sales out of the water. There's also one small part. We might see at E3 this year a reveal of the new Nintendo Switch Pro. And like they did with the Switch, they will release Breath of the Wild 2 with the Switch Pro. So that is very exciting to think about and to hope for. I really hope that all of this comes to fruition. So did that tickle your news fancy, my friend?
That tickles my news fancy. That definitely tickles my pickle. I'm really really excited, and I may hold off on buying because I have a Switch Lite, but I'm planning on buying like a regular Switch, so I have a console like I can play multiplayer with.
Yeah.
But I may hold off on that if the Switch Pro rumors are true, and we've been hearing those for a while.
I've seen some design specs for it, dude.
Yeah,
So like it looks crazy.
I'll definitely buy that.
Like we're talking 4K rendering, we're talking 60 FPS, we're talking Nintendo finally coming through with solid technology. Now, don't get me wrong, Breath of the Wild and a lot of the games that have come out for the Switch are absolute masterpieces. But if they do this, oh my God, Nintendo will turn over. Yes, bro, it's we're looking at some beautiful stuff. Hopefully in the future.
That's literally the sound I make when I orgasm. So there you go, folks.
I also have one small piece of news to share. Well, it's not really small for me, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just another part of life, and we do the best we can to keep it going. But I have taken a writing position with the Legend of Zelda website, zeldadungeon.net, which is a website that has been around since 2001. Yeah. And I am very, very excited to take part in this journey and write about one of my lifelong passions, Zelda being the first game I ever played, and I will play it until the day I die, unless for some reason they are able to figure out how to transfer consciousness into robotic beings. That would be lit, and then I can play Zelda forever. So, but yeah, I'm really excited to start working for ZeldaDungeon.net. I'm going to try to see if I can't get young Ash here to join me on that little adventure, because it would be a kick-ass opportunity.
That would be a dream come true. Like, dude, I am so excited for you. As soon as you told me that, I was like, no way. What?
Yeah, sent you the screenshot to verify it, and he was like, ah!
That's exactly how that went down.
Yeah, shout out to Andy Spiteri and Allison Aletha of the Champions Cast and ZeldaDungeon.net for being so wonderful and hospitable and taking the time to get to know me and walk me through everything. They're just absolutely wonderful people. If you haven't heard the Champions Cast or the Omega Metroid podcast, Andy also does that one with Dakota Lasky. They call him Dak. He's pretty cool. Go check out those podcasts. They are absolutely wonderful. It's a good time. They've been going on for almost a year now, so go give them some love. Go give them a 5-star rating wherever you listen, and it's a good time. You'll have plenty of stuff to listen to. And so, yeah, I'm done spilling about news. I think it's time to start recommending some games.
Let's recommend some games. Okay, so what is your? I said number 5 earlier, but that's not quite right. Where these aren't in any sort of ranking. But what's the first pick for you, Zach?
Okay, since we are going to be doing an episode on it later on this season, I've been playing a ton of it, and I think that it would be very befitting to talk about my number 5 pick, or my first pick, Apex Legends. I absolutely love this game. This game came out in 2019. It was developed by Respawn Entertainment, and it is basically not more realistic, but a lot more fluid and a lot more fast-paced battle royale that was inspired by Fortnite. Fortnite kind of was released after PUBG. PUBG and Fortnite together basically exploded the battle royale scene and made those games just very, very prominent. And so today, if you ask somebody who plays games regularly what their games are that they like to play, one of them might be a battle royale. I played PUBG for a little while. It was very difficult. I played Fortnite for about 3 years, honestly. And now I play Apex religiously almost. I just recently purchased Horizon, which is the last hero that I need, or last legend that I needed to buy. But this game is really fun. It is a 60-player battle royale that takes place on either Kings Canyon or the new destroyed Kings Canyon. Or, whatever map they decide and come up with. I can't think of all the maps off the top of my head. But this is a very fast-paced battle royale in which you spawn in with either your partner or your two teammates, because it's either duos or trios. There's no squads or solos. And you drop in, and all hell breaks loose. Yeah. Once you drop in, you have to go to a hotspot in order to survive, to get decent gear. Because not only is there weapons and armor that you have to get. There's different variants of armor. There's white armor, there's blue armor, there's purple armor, there's gold armor, and there's red armor. Now, they've added red armor to the game, which is basically, it's even stronger than gold armor. You just have to get kills and level it up. The more damage you do, the more you level up your armor now. But there's weapons on weapons on weapons, and for those weapons on the ground, there are attachments that you have to get. There are these things called hop-ups, which are specialized attachments for individual guns that make them stronger. For example, there is a pistol. Oh God, Zach, you literally use it all the time. It's the Wingman. Sorry, there's a pistol called the Wingman. It's basically like, it's not a shotgun pistol. It fires slugs, and there's a hop-up for it called a skull piercer round, which means when you attach it to your gun, if you hit a headshot, it does more damage, and you can find extended mags for each specific type of weapon. There's extended light, extended heavy. There's so much customization in this game, and it's absolutely crazy. Each of the legends have their own specific abilities. For example, there's a legend called Bangalore. She's basically like a soldier, basically fitted for infantry combat, like something you'd see in like the army or something like that. And her abilities are she can release a smoke screen that can conceal where she's at, and she can run and escape fire or pop the smoke screen and revive a downed teammate. She has a missile system where she can pinpoint and fire at a legend and take off like that. And her ultimate is a missile barrage. Basically, wherever you aim the ultimate, there will be a barrage of missiles that falls down. And if you get caught in it, you'll probably be downed. Because as we all know, ultimates are pretty heavy stuff that are basically meant as kill shots. And each legend is different. You're going to have to get on the game and see it for yourself. But I highly recommend this game. It's very fast-paced. It's very fun. It's also very difficult because the movement is unlike anything I've ever seen in a Battle Royale / first-person shooter. But I highly recommend this game. And I chose it today simply because I've probably, in the last 2 or 3 months, Ash, I've probably put about 6 or 7 days on it. So
I don't doubt it, dude. I have played a little bit of Apex. I actually started playing whenever we did our episode with the Perfect Paradox podcast. I thought we were going to talk about Apex Legends, so I played like a shit ton of it with them. But what we ended up doing was just talking about gaming in general, which is cool. And we're
I played
totally
Rocket
down
League the whole time.
Yes, we're totally down to play with them again. But we were planning on doing an Apex Legends episode next time, and we actually announced that. But just so you guys know, we've switched that around, and we'll reveal what game we're going to be doing instead at the end of this podcast. But we are still going to do like a bonus round episode focusing on Apex, just because we promised something, so we'll get it out there. But I'm glad you're talking about it now, because I've been playing I played a little bit of Apex recently because I was thinking we were going to do an episode on it. I'm kind of trash at these kinds of games. I've never been very good at Battle Royale. I'm terrible at Fortnite. I'm terrible at Warzone. But out of all of those, I think Apex is probably the most fun for me. Personally, my characters is Bangalore like your character?
No. No, my characters. I forget his name. He's a fairly new legend, but I bought him immediately when he came out. But my main right now is Horizon. Her abilities are she can place a kind of almost like a gravity trampoline on the ground, where she puts it on the ground and it like sends you flying into the air, and it allows you for a quick escape. It gives you height advantage. Like, let's say you're on the second floor and there's enemies on the roof. You can place it right next to you, get up high above your enemies and start raining fire down above them, catch them by surprise. And her ultimate is, wow, that actually correlates with another game that I'll be recommending in this list. But her ultimate is like a gravity well that sucks in enemies and basically gets them in one central location so that you and your teammates can just level them. And it's really cool. She's fun to use, and there's differences in the weight classes of characters. Every character moves the same speed, but there are characters that are bigger, and so it feels like they move slower and their movement isn't as fluid.
Yeah.
I like the lighter characters because it seems like you can move quicker. And there's a move, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's where you slide across the ground 180 and look behind you, but jump against a wall, and you'll wall run across the wall, so you can be running on the wall while laying into your target while running away. So it's really cool. It's hard to master. There's a YouTuber named Asu. He is the best Apex Legends player in the world, and it is really fun watching him play because he does that all the time. Like, his movement is sick. He's learned how to like wall jump and kick off of off of surfaces. It's really cool to watch. And so that's the type of movement I'm striving to get good at.
Yeah, so I would say my main would probably be, if I have a main, because I haven't really played enough to really get a feel for it, and I haven't played with very many Legends at all, but I like Wraith quite a bit, because
Oh, yeah.
the ability to vanish and get away real quick is really, really, really useful. And I like her ultimate, which allows you to create a portal that you and your teammates can both go through. And let me tell you, that actually helped us out one time in a game because the ring was closing in, and so I got as close as I could. I created a portal, and then I got as close as I could to the ring. And then I created another portal, and my teammates survived, ended up surviving because of me doing that. So that was nice. I like Pathfinder as well. The grappling abilities are really neat. And I also had some good luck with playing with Gibraltar. I liked that as you're aiming weapons, he's got a shield that's up. And Lifeline. Lifeline was cool, kind of playing the medic persona. I think was really good for me.
Come get your birthday present. Oh yeah, dude. Gibraltar's cool. I've never really played as Gibraltar, to be honest, but Wraith is sickening. And honestly, when it comes to having abilities like this in a battle royale or any other game specifically, you and your team really need to know who the other people are playing, so that you can so that you can use a character that will help balance out the abilities that your teammates are using. Let's say if Wraith puts down her portal, on the other side of it, if you're playing as Horizon and you go through the portal first, you can put a gravity trampoline on the ground, and as soon as you hit the portal, you'll get air, and that way you can all look and see while you're in the air, look and see if you can spot enemies.
Oh, nice!
And it's really cool. There's also another character called Octane that will inject himself, and it allows him to run super quick. And
that's gotta be useful when the ring's closing.
It is, but every time you inject yourself, it takes a little bit of your health.
Oh.
But Octane is also consistently healing himself.
Okay.
Constantly. It's very small and very minute, so it takes a while to fully restore your health, but it works. And his ultimate is a giant trampoline that just sends you flying, and it's great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I guess we've talked a lot about Apex so far, and we'll have more to talk about on our bonus round, but my first recommendation, let me think about which one I want to talk about first. Yeah, I'm going to go with Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga.
Yaga.
So anybody this was the Lego Star Wars game growing up. I mean, obviously when the first one came out, that was just covering the prequel trilogy. And then they eventually did the original trilogy as well. But later on, they decided to kind of package these together and do the Complete Saga. And we were actually going to do a game on this. Originally back in season 1, we did a poll on which Lego game was going to be better to talk about, Lego Harry Potter or Lego Star Wars. And Star Wars The Complete Saga was the obvious choice. But we ended up, and that was going to be a season 2 choice later on. I ended up throwing it away because I really wanted to talk about Ghosts of Tsushima. And then season 2 ended up becoming season 3. Long story short, we split our episodes. They were originally bi-weekly. When we went monthly, season 1 got split into 2. But anyway, Lego Star Wars ended up getting written out, and and then they also announced the Skywalker Saga, which I think instead of the Complete Saga, we're gonna end up doing the Skywalker Saga as kind of a game launch episode for sure, because I mean we kind of teased it already anyway, but I decided it would be a good opportunity to talk about the Complete Saga on the bonus round, because this is definitely a game I grew up playing a lot. In fact, all of the Lego games were games I grew up playing a lot. And Lego Star Wars was the first. Lego Star Wars was the breakout, and what a surprise. Nobody thought that making a game with Lego characters would be as fun as it is. And I love the fact that the gameplay is more casual. I like the fact that when you die, you don't really die. You just come back with almost no consequence.
Oh, yeah. And I've never personally played any of the Lego adventure games.
Oh, you haven't?
But no, I haven't. Those weren't really my cup of tea growing up. But I will say that they're very inspirational series, simply because, like, let's say Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Star Wars, Lego Batman, they take something that could have an adult theme to it and add a level of innocence to it. Because let's say we're talking about Batman. Batman is a very, very dark storyline. It doesn't matter which universe you're in, it's very dark. Like, Bruce Wayne's parents were killed, and that's why he was trained by Ra's al Ghul and faced his fear of darkness and I guess bats.
I'm glad you said Ra's al Ghul right, because Christopher Nolan apparently didn't get that one right.
No, I guess he said Ra's al Ghul or something like that.
No
but,
disrespect to him, because The Dark Knight is a fantastic fucking movie.
And Christopher Nolan is probably one of the greatest movie producers / directors of all time. And like Interstellar is one of the greatest movies ever made.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
If you haven't seen Tenet, I highly recommend that movie. Sorry, Tenet is incredible. I don't know who plays the protagonist, but he's amazing because that's literally his name. His name is the protagonist.
Hey,
and
this is a game recommendations episode, not a movie recommendation.
I know, but it's good. Okay, but like I said, Batman's very dark, and Star Wars has a lot of dark moments. Indiana Jones is more adventurous and kind of more fun, but there are dark moments in the movies, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they open the Ark and those guys get their faces melted off. It's beautiful.
Anakin killed fucking kids. If that's not dark, I don't know what is.
Wait, that's dark? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That's a bad joke. Sorry. Oh my gosh.
I was so disappointed in Lego Star Wars when you didn't get to replay that scene and kill all the younglings.
Stop. Yeah.
No, they actually cut that one out because that's just too dark.
It's very dark. It's very Mr. Skywalker. Or Master Skywalker.
Master Skywalker.
Oh man, but yeah, no, I've heard that they are amazing games and a lot of fun and very nostalgic for a lot of people. I could never get into it. Legos were never really my thing. I was into Transformers and stuff as a kid. So.
Oh, me too. I love the try. I still, bro. No joke. And maybe I have to show my collection to you right now. In my room, sitting is my box of Transformers from my childhood. I have a whole box of them.
If you don't have Scattershot or Jazz, I don't want to see it.
I don't think I have those two. No, but I have Unicron. I have Unicron. Okay.
You have Unicron? I had
Unicron.
Dude, as like a 10-year-old, Unicron was the shit. But
Unicron was the shit. If you didn't have Unicron, like, who were you?
And not Scattershot. What is it? Starscream, bro. Starscream was like one of the more advanced level Transformers that took like 10 minutes to transform by hand. It was so hard.
Oh shit, that reminds me. There was a Transformers game growing up that was badass.
I never played it.
Totally going on tangent, but it was on the PS2. It was actually really good. You could play as Optimus Prime or Jetfire, I believe, or Hotshot. I think it was those, or Bumblebee. I honestly can't remember. It was so long ago, and you end up fighting Unicron in the end, and it was actually a really cool game. Not based on the movie. This was way before the Michael Bay movie ever came out, but. Anyway, back to Lego Star Wars, or Lego games in general are really fun. I think they're inventive. I like the fact that you can play literally any character in that universe, and they didn't care whether it was redundant or not. They didn't care whether it was useless or not. You can play as the Gonk droid. You can play as the PK droid. You can play as a fucking Womp Rat. Lego Star Wars 2 actually introduced the customizable characters, which is a mainstay that has been in almost every Lego game after. So you could create your own characters that were, Jedi with pistols or shit. And it was cool. And I love that not only can you play through every single episode in the saga, but you can go back and free play those levels and collect all of the extras like the mini kits and the red bricks and get true Jedi. And there were actually some extras that were hidden behind those. So you would have to come to a level back in free play and be a Sith or be a bounty hunter, and that way you could unlock some of the puzzles. I love the puzzle solving gameplay. I love the fact that the world was built up of bricks, and so there were so many things you could do with that. Jedi characters are fun to play as, and I've been playing a lot recently. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga actually is on PlayStation Live right now. So if you wanted to get a shot at that, and maybe you don't have a copy of the game, or you don't want to have to hook up your old console again, definitely you can play that on PlayStation Live, and I highly recommend it. Out of all the Lego Star Wars games, I mean, I haven't played the Clone Wars one, but out of all the Lego Star Wars games I played, I mean, that's the best.
Are they on PS Now?
PlayStation Now, that's what I meant to say. I said PlayStation Live. I'm so sorry. PlayStation Now, the streaming service. So yeah, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, and also the Lego Star Wars: The Clone Wars one is on PlayStation Now. Some of the other Lego games are too, but I highly recommend them. We did a big talk about the Lego games in general in our Lego Harry Potter episode. Go check that out if you haven't. It's back in season 1. Actually, I believe it's one of our most viewed episodes because when that episode went live, we were using the Podcoin service, which was so cool. Rest in peace, Podcoin. It was really cool. It was like this service where you could get paid to listen to podcasts. And as a podcaster, it was nice because they had this feature where as long as you put a promo on your episodes, like every 2 weeks, and they had specific requirements, like this week you'd put it on the front of the podcast, and then you'd put it in the middle, and then you put it in the end. But as long as you just played like a little 30-second promo, they would put your podcast out on like their like a top list where they would be viewable to everyone. Our views shot up that for that period. And Lego Harry Potter happened to be the episode that was out, which wouldn't have been the one that I would have picked. But yeah, it got a lot of views because of that service. And then Podcoin, I guess, they deleted their app and no longer exists anymore. But anyway, Lego Star Wars is one of the fundamental games of my childhood. I remember being excited about the concept when it came out. I remember when the second one came out, and it was cool because they added things like Princess Leia and other girls could slap people, and Chewbacca could rip people's arms off, and it was fucking bad, dude. It was awesome, and it was fun playing it now. I love doing the pod racing level. I love doing just everything. You can't have a bad time when you're playing a Lego game.
Yeah, no, you can't, and it adds a level of innocence, so anybody can rip somebody's arms off with Chewbacca. All right, so I guess we're going to move on here. All right, so my next game recommendation is one that I don't think you and I have talked about at all, Ash.
Okay.
So this might hit you from left field, but I spent a lot of time playing this game when it first came out, but Minecraft Dungeons.
Okay.
When that game was released, man, I was so skeptical about it, but my roommate Richard and I just spent day and night just playing this game. And basically what this is an RPG adaptation of Minecraft. Basically, everybody's played Minecraft at some point in their life where you just go in and you can do survival or creative mode, and you can just build, survive, and have a good time. A lot of people made a bunch of mods, but Minecraft Dungeons is basically a level up system. It's an RPG where you kind of pick your character. You can be a wizard or you could be a knight with swords. You can wield magic and do whatever you want. And you go through, the game started out with 10 individual dungeons where you have a goal and you start at the beginning of the level and you just massacre enemies while trying to get to the goal. There's a level, the first level you have to like light 5 torches and enter a secret cave, and you can find chests with weapons in them like diamond pickaxes and swords, and the further you go in the game, the more you level up, and you can get coins or stuff, or coins or whatever they're called. I don't know, but it's been a while since I played it. But it's so good. And there's a start screen. It's basically like a world map or like a overworld type thing where you can like test out your weapons and you can buy kits and stuff like that, and buy weapons, armor, and it's all random. So once you hit the treasure chest, like it'll give you a random piece of armor, and depending on what level you are, that determines basically what kind of stuff you get. And there's also, each character can wield like certain magical abilities. Each character can wield a specific type of weapon, and you can level up these abilities using enchantments. Enchantments are little coins that you get every time you level up. When you level up, you get an enchantment coin, and you can add that to your armor to give your armor or weapon special abilities. Let's say you have a diamond sword, and it's a base level diamond sword, but you've leveled up 7 or 8 times. So you have 7 or 8 enchantment coins. So you can make it to where your blade can summon thunder with one enchantment coin. And once you do that, the next upgrade costs 2 enchantment coins, and you can make it to where that thunder has a larger blast radius. And then the third one, it could do something like it will have an even larger blast radius and also heal your allies. So it's really, really fun to just take the concept of Minecraft and put it into this level scaling type of game. It's very linear, but it's also extremely fun, and I highly recommend it. Have you ever played Minecraft Dungeons? Because honestly, we could both get it, Ash, and we could play it together, and we could live stream it.
Yeah, that would be badass, dude.
It's so much fun.
I love Minecraft. Like, I'm a huge, I think Minecraft is one of those games that definitely deserves the hype it gets because just how open it is and the moddable structure of it. And I can't say enough about Minecraft, and we will be talking more about it later this season, hint, hint. But I've never played Minecraft Dungeons. I guess that was one of the spinoffs that I just didn't really know much about. I know there was like also like the Minecraft story mode thing, which was like a Telltale type adventure, right?
Yes, but honestly, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that love it, and I apologize for dissing on it, but I never really enjoyed it. I'm gonna take a little sidetrack here, Ash. Sorry to kind of cut into this, but I notice that you are wearing a Collateral Gaming T-shirt. Yes, sir.
Merch is on the way. Yeah. And I've actually got updated designs on these that now have our that show where to find Collateral Gaming, because my wife brought up a good point when she was looking at the back of my shirt, and all it just says is, the only video game podcast that matters, or on the Collateral Cinema shirt, the only movie podcast that matters. But it doesn't show like where to find us. So I updated it, and I've got like the logos of all the different podcast formats and our social media handles. But we're going to be shooting these live soon. I'm just trying to figure out kind of what I want to do. I want to know if I want to stick with the service that we've been doing, which is custom ink, or maybe if I can find something that's cheaper. I like this website because it allowed me to customize it, and there was like an in-browser editor that was actually really nice. So we'll see what we're going at. Right now, it's costing us $35 just to make the shirt, and we don't want to charge more than that just to make a profit. But I think if you order in bulk, it's quite a bit cheaper. But we'll be launching that merch line soon. Just going off on that sidebar, because if you want to support our podcast, that helps us in two ways. One, we get the money. I mean, we'll upcharge a little bit, so we make somewhat of a profit, but that money will go into the podcast specifically. Any money we make on the podcast goes into the podcast, and that applies to the Patreon. That's a rule that I'm setting for myself. And number two, that gets the word out. You're wearing the T-shirt, and people will see and they'll ask. So we'll be launching that soon for anybody that wants to support us, anybody that wants to wear the merch. So far, we've got the shirts in black and purple, and then we've got red and teal options as well for Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema. We're going to launch other types of things like face masks, hats, beanies, hoodies, whatever, you name it. We can do it.
Heck yeah, man. That sounds awesome. And once I get paid, I'm probably going to get a couple T-shirts so that I can sport them when we start recording and doing videos. And now that I know how to do backgrounds in Skype, my video will not just be my face, but a nice little background. Like right now, we're not doing video right now, but I've got a nice little shot of Hyrule from Breath of the Wild. And you guys all know that that's one of my favorite games. So why not? I'm really excited to see where the merch goes. And, we pretty much hit the nail on the head with Minecraft Dungeons. So if you want to, there's not too much to talk about. I would like to dive into that game with you because it's on PlayStation, and you and I could dive in together, and it'd be a lot of fun. So
it's on PlayStation now?
It's not on PlayStation now, but it's like $15 on the store.
Yeah, that would be badass.
Yeah. So what game recommendation do you have now?
I'm going to go with Spider-Man 2. And this is the movie game that really just kicked it all off, okay? So if you enjoyed Marvel Spider-Man on PS4 and Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS4 and PS5, you really owe it to Spider-Man 2. And we talked about this in our original Spider-Man PS4 episode, was that really everything that the precedent was set. The bar was raised with Spider-Man 2, the movie game. And for a movie tie-in game, which, by the way, we talked about this on our previous episode we did with Collateral Cinema, that bonus run episode where we talked about movie tie-in games. But for a movie tie-in game, it was fantastic. It was the very first Spider-Man game to have an open world where you could swing around Manhattan to your pleasure. And that seems like a natural choice. You've got Bruce Campbell narrating the game, and if that doesn't make you want to play it right now, then I don't know what will.
Do they have it on PlayStation 4? Like, is it accessible to get?
I was trying to get it emulated, actually, so I could play it a little bit. And I actually did emulate it somewhat recently, maybe before I started the podcast. I was kind of playing it before, and I played it somewhat recently, but I just remember growing up being able to swing around and fight crime and get on top of cars and shit. It was so badass, and you felt like Spider-Man, and it really set the bar for superhero games, and especially Spider-Man games. Every Spider-Man game afterwards kind of copied this format, or most of them did anyway. The whole idea of being able to freely swing around Manhattan.
Oh yeah, and honestly, like, the greatest baby of all was Spider-Man PS4 because it took elements from Spider-Man PS2 and the Arkham games and created this just gorgeous creation that involved both flawless combat and seamless web swinging throughout the city. And it's just, I need to go back and replay Spider-Man 2 because it has been years. But I have a PS2 here in the house. So I am going to need to get a copy. That doesn't make sense. I'm going to need to go get a copy of that game and go back through it, because I mean they did their best, their absolute best. Spider-Man, Peter Parker looks like Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
In PS2 format, Mary Jane looks like Kirsten Dunst. Bruce Campbell's narrating the game. You've already said it, and that's the best part, because Bruce Campbell is literally in every single one of the Raimi movies, except he's a different character.
Yes.
He's the announcer in the wrestling arena in the first one.
Well,
he is
supposedly the plan was for him to be the same character, and he was Mysterio. That was the plan for Spider-Man 4. Was that it was going to be somehow revealed, like how he had participated in Peter Parker's life in every way, and that makes sense. Like he's an actor.
That's amazing. What if they implement that in Spider-Man 3 coming out this year, and they just haven't said anything? Because what is his name? Molina? What's his name?
Alfred Molina and
Alfred Molina, yeah.
And Jamie Foxx have been announced. Tom Holland is saying that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are actually not in the movie, but I think that might be misdirection. I really do. It doesn't make sense for him to outright deny that at this point. I mean, if anything,
if Jamie Foxx is going to be in the movie as Electro, Andrew Garfield needs to make an appearance, and Alfred Molina, Tobey Maguire needs to be in the movie.
At the very least, they'll be seeding that in. So I was kind of surprised that it was going to happen in Spider-Man 3. I wonder if maybe Tom Holland is telling the truth and they're not, but they're going to be in a future Spider-Man movie. I don't know. But either way, they're really seeding that. And if anybody's been watching WandaVision, they're really the seeds have been planted. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen the most recent episodes, bro.
Yes, I have. I'm up to date.
Okay, that was crazy at the end of not just this last episode. I mean, that was crazy too. But at the last episode, and there was a little bit of multiverse shenanigans, maybe.
Bro, I don't want to spoil it because you just need to go and watch it. But I will say, this is not spoiling anything. I will say that you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That argument between Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, that is some of the greatest acting in both of their careers I've ever seen, especially Paul Bettany as Vision. Like he is literally right now in the highlight of his acting career just because of that one scene. I have never seen so much passion and just pure. I genuinely was kind of scared of him in that moment just because of how intense it got.
Yes.
But I've already said a little bit too much. If you haven't seen WandaVision, go and see it.
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's really good. And rest in peace to Cara Dune.
Yeah. I mean, the less we say about that, the better. But regardless of how you feel about it, I mean, it is kind of sad to see the character go.
Oh yeah, that's why I said Cara Dune. I will hold my opinion on the situation, but I think Disney. I think Disney made a judgment call, and they did the best that they could. So I accept the decision, and I understand it. So from there, we will just move on. But yeah, Spider-Man 2 for the PS2, or Spider-Man PS2. Sorry, that's Spider-Man 2. Yeah. So it's a very stellar game. One that I'm definitely gonna have to go back and replay.
Yeah. Same. Dude.
So, if we're moving on, I guess I will do my third recommendation, which is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
No, that's
game,
funny. That you
is that one of your recommendeds?
No, because we already did an episode on it, so I wouldn't make it one of my recommendations. But that's funny that you said that because it's funny is you were like, yeah, a lot of Respawn Entertainment games are recommended. I'm like, is he going to do Fallen Order?
I am. I'm going to do Fallen Order because that's one of the. Wait, was I on the episode that we did Fallen Order?
No, you weren't. But Megan and Alan.
Okay.
That was their first episode.
Okay, so I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed.
Technically, yeah.
So Jedi Fallen Order follows the story of Cal Kestis, a Jedi that survived Order 66.
I was so hoping he would show up in The Mandalorian, by the way.
Me too. I mean, The Mandalorian's not done.
It's not done. He could.
It's not done. He could still show up, but at the same time, and they better use the same actor. I will be really mad if they don't. But basically, he's hiding out on a planet as a scrapper, and at the beginning of the game, he ends up saving a friend of his. And I'm not going to spoil any names or any locations or anything like that because I highly recommend you play this game. It's still relatively new, and there are still a lot of people that may listen to this that will want to dive in and play it because it is absolutely spectacular. Basically,
Ah.
you end up saving your friend, and that kind of exposes you and kind of alerts the Empire that there's a Jedi that's still a follower of the treasonous Jedi Order that
Yeah.
is still alive and surviving. And basically, the Inquisitors come and hunt him down. He ends up escaping, and that's where the story begins. And so, this game is absolutely spectacular. From the I wouldn't necessarily call it open world, but
No,
it's
open map, though.
open map,
About
and
as
very
open as the traditional like Zelda games are, I would say.
yeah. And so between the combat between the various creatures that you'll face throughout the game to the lightsaber duels with the Inquisitors,
Yes.
it's just, dude, it is spectacular. And I won't say anything specifically, but the end of the game will make your jaw drop.
Yes. Oh my god.
The end of the game will absolutely make your jaw drop. And every single story aspect of this game will keep you on the edge of your seat. And that's one thing I love about certain video games. Video games that catch my attention are video games that will constantly keep you wanting more.
Yes.
And at the end of this game, they left it on a massive cliffhanger, which makes me think that they're going to make another one.
Oh, for sure. I think
But-
they announced that there officially is going to be there is a sequel in development.
Yeah. And so, like, from BD1, the best droid companion in the entirety.
Best.
He is
I
the
agree.
best and most adorable companion in the history of Star Wars games, to the lightsaber play and the customization. There is so much cosmetic stuff that you can do with Cal, with what he's wearing, how the ship looks, how your lightsaber looks. You can literally customize your lightsaber to look like every single lightsaber from the Star Wars
Yes.
fandom, from the Star Wars story. Anything you can make it look, and eventually you'll upgrade it to where you can have, well, no, I'm not going to say that. That's a spoiler. But play this game. It is absolutely spectacular. If you want to get your Star Wars vibe on, this game is the perfect way to do it. I have a clip, Ash, from the very first planet. Some stormtroopers caught me, and I killed the first one, and I started to run away from the second one. I somersaulted on the ground like you do. You press circle and you kind of somersault out of the way. And he's like, I knew it would end like this. And he fires a shot at me, and I'm rolling away, and I just deflect it behind the back and hit him in the face.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll have to take a video of that and send it to you after this podcast because it's hilarious. But that game is so good. It is so smooth. If you have a PlayStation 4 Pro, you can play it in 4K or you can play it in 60 FPS. I highly recommend playing it in 60 FPS because it allows for such a smooth gaming experience. And it is beautiful. Cal is my favorite Star Wars protagonist out of the entire series. I like Rey, I like Luke, I like Obi-Wan, I like Anakin until he becomes Darth Vader, of course. But Cal Kestis is the one you get the closest to, the one you learn the in and outs of, and the ability to meditate, and the skill tree is just spectacular.
Yes.
I love this game, and the Game Plus is awesome because it allows you to do like combat arenas and face the different it's different waves of enemies from different planets. It allows you to fight all the bosses in succession, like a boss rush. It's really hard, but it's really good. I tried to do the boss rush at the very beginning, and I just got leveled
Yes.
because I'm playing on Jedi Grandmaster right now, and so it's tough.
It's harder on Jedi Grandmaster. I think I tried on either Jedi Master or Jedi Grandmaster, and I had to end up dialing it back. And then I had to end up dialing it back to the easiest setting during the final boss fight against the second sister, and that was difficult. But yeah, no, that is a fantastic game. It is actually probably definitely my favorite Star Wars game of all time, because it's basically if you took Star Wars and you made the equivalent of a Zelda game out of it, and it is so good. Such a compelling story. I'm with you. Cal Kestis and BD1 are some of my favorite characters, if not my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. The only thing this game was limited by was its budget, and this was what an unexpected hit that was published by EA. And then the
You're
reason
telling me that the budget was limited on this game?
yeah, because basically
what?
they didn't have a lot of hope in it, so they didn't give them very much to work with, and because they didn't think that it would be as successful as it was. What I'm hoping is that in the sequel, EA doesn't decide to do what EA usually does and take control, because the reason this game was so successful is because they kind of let Respawn do whatever they wanted with it.
I know EA is known for making shoddy games that are pay to win, and I will crap on EA all day. Now, EA sports games, those are fun, but when it comes to like Battlefront and all that stuff, Battlefield, They make it to where you have to spend a ton of money in order to be decent. And
Yes.
I hate it. And I just don't like that because that takes away from the experience. The games are already $60 on release. Why make it to where people have to pay more in order to have a decent experience?
Yeah, and this game actually doesn't have any DLC. It only had one free DLC. You know what's funny is I thought that this game was a natural choice for DLC with all the customization options and whatnot, but the only DLC they released was free, and I actually got to respect that. And I'm really, really stoked about the sequel. If you want to hear about my opinion on that, go check out our Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order episode back from season 2. I definitely have a lot more to say about that game, but I guess I'll go ahead and I'll move on to my next one.
Go for it, my brother.
So my next game that I'm going to talk about is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door.
Hey, yes.
Yes, I love the Paper Mario games. The only Mario RPG games I love more is the Mario and Luigi series. But Paper Mario is very, very, very close. And out of all of them, Thousand Year Door is probably my favorite. I mean,
It's definitely the best.
I think it's definitely the best
The
because
Origami King is really fun, but the combat sucks, and so that really took away from. I didn't even finish that game, man. I deleted it like a fourth of the way just because I could not stand the combat.
I love the
couldn't get into
Origami
it.
King. The combat is really interesting to me, but it's not the Thousand Year Door. Just go back to
not.
what made the first two games great, and you'll have a solid game. And that's not to say Super Paper Mario isn't exceptional in its own way. It's just a very different game. I haven't played Sticker Star or Color Splash. I've heard a lot of the fans don't like him as much, but I did enjoy the Origami King quite a bit. But man, if they would just go back to what made the first couple games great, they don't even have to do anything really new with it. Just the same thing, but a new story. And Nintendo, I know they don't like to do that, but seriously, the Thousand Year Door is fantastic. The story
Yes.
is good. The RPG combat is just so fun. It's such a unique concept to begin with.
Yep, and if this tells you anything, my dad is not a very big gamer. On the last recommendations episode, one of my recommendations was The Grinch for Dreamcast. That game, The Thousand Year Door, Super Mario for the Game Boy, are the only 3 games that he has really played. He beat The Thousand Year Door 12 times.
Wow.
That's how good this game is. It makes my dad, who doesn't game very much, play it 12 times all the way through.
Man, and so many different sections. Every level is unique, and all the characters, like the partner characters, are so interesting and well developed. And just the combat is so deep. I love all of the moves and everything that you can do, all of the items that you can equip. And going back again to the levels, Glitzville, the train level,
Oh, yeah.
the fucking
dude.
moon.
Ah, zombies.
Man, so many good levels. So many good levels, and they really just went all out and did really interesting. Like you kind of have what's essentially a murder mystery going on the train. You know, it's kind of like Murder on the Orient Express, basically. And then although it's been a while since I played, and then Glitzville is like basically like an arena style where you just keep going after different waves of enemies in like a tournament. Well, not waves of enemies, different boss battles in like a tournament style. And but you know, there's also something kind of going on that's a little bit off in the subplot of that level. Oh man, every level was cool. I love that one of the first bosses that you fight in the game, the dragon, forget his name now. But there's an item that you can use that weakens him. Because he's there. I guess I'm not gonna go into it, but there's an item that you can use that weaken him, and it is hilarious. And that's your nipple.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm too turned on now.
Stop.
Um,
Just had to give him a little taste of the pepperoni.
no.
And that I love that. You were like, and that's your nipple. Yeah, good times. All right.
Anything to add about Paper Mario?
No. It's been a very long time since I've played the Thousand Year Door, so the only thing I can really remember was the fluidity of the art style and how well it worked with every single location in the game. The combat was amazing. That's why I was disappointed in the Origami King, because it was different, and I didn't like the change that they made. I didn't like the rotation and jumping system, the system in Origami King. So I just
Boss battles are cool though.
Yeah, boss battles, they're decent, but
Okay.
I just couldn't get past it. I really couldn't. And I thought it was a unique addition to hit everything and get the paper mache in your bag, but it was a turnoff for me. Yeah.
When compared against Thousand Year Door, and I haven't played the original Nintendo 64 game, but I've heard it's pretty similar. But Thousand Year Door like took that and really expanded on it. It's on the GameCube. Currently, there's no other way to play it. It's never been done on a virtual console, but again, you can emulate it. And if you have a GameCube still, I don't. My GameCube was lent to a friend, and then that friend got into a car accident, and so my GameCube is gone. My very first console. That was very sentimental to me, and I'm still kind of sad about it, but life happens.
Dude, I'm very I think you told me about that, but that's really sad.
It is so sad, dude.
A moment of silence for Ash's GameCube.
Yes, and it had, I had the Twilight Princess skin on it.
Oh,
I got, like,
now
so
for real, moment of silence for Ash's GameCube.
Yeah, I had like the decal that you can, like the stickers you can put on it, and it was so good. And oh man, so many memories, man. That was my very first game console. My mom had bought it for me, and my mom waited. She didn't let us play video games for a while, but so I didn't like grow up with like a Nintendo 64 or anything. My first console was the GameCube. And
Yeah,
this was around the time after the Xbox and PS2 were already out. But I remember I had Super Smash Brothers. That was the game that came packaged with it, and I didn't have a memory card. So I had to, like, every time like I unlocked a fighter, I had to like re-unlock them all the time. Eventually had to tell my mom, like, hey, I really need a memory card because I can't get anywhere in the games that I'm playing.
She's like, oh, okay.
I mean, Super Smash Brothers was all right. I just, I couldn't unlock any fighters. I just had to play with the same ones, but yeah, it sucked when you were playing story-based games. But anyway,
Yeah.
what's your next recommendation?
All right. So my next recommendation is another multiplayer-based game, but it's not a battle royale. This game has been out since 2016 and was made by and released by Blizzard Entertainment, but I recently got into it a couple of months ago, and I've been playing it religiously with a group of friends. I am talking about Overwatch.
Oh, hell yeah.
Overwatch
Okay.
is incredible. It is a team-based objective game where you and 5 of your teammates, whether you're playing with friends or you're playing with random people online, you get together and you work together to stop the enemy team from either preventing you. You either work together to capture or defend the objective, or you work together to push a payload, or there's elimination, there's capture the flag, there's deathmatch. There's so many fun things to do. There's tank-based heroes, which are basically heroes designed to help defend the rest of the group. Like there's Reinhardt, he's got a giant hammer that he swings around and beats people up. He's got a giant barrier that he puts up that protects you and your teammates while you're pushing the payload or trying to defeat the other team. There are damage-based characters, which are characters with a lot less health. They're a lot smaller. And those are the characters that are focused on dealing damage to the enemies. Basically, if you have there's 3 different types of characters. There's DPS, which is damage per second. There's support, which are characters that heal and keep your team alive while you're going. And there are tanks that defend and protect and bounce the other team back to try to push them away from the objective. And you work together. The supports consistently heal everybody on your team, while the damage per second players are constantly dealing damage to the other team, while the tanks are protecting everybody. And it's so much fun. It's such a simple game design.
Yeah.
But it's repetitive if you don't really see the value in it. But dude, let me tell you that this game is some kind of fun. Like, I cannot tell you. There's so many different maps to choose from. My personal favorite is Hollywood, where you're literally at Hollywood Studios trying to push a giant sports car across the map. That's the payload to the objective. And basically you have to work together with your team to eliminate the enemy team constantly. And everybody keeps respawning. So you have to keep pushing them back and keep killing enemies. And it's a lot like Apex in a way, because each character has specific unique abilities and an ultimate. The ultimate takes a lot longer to charge, but let's say you're playing as McCree. McCree is a gunslinger from the Wild West. His main weapon is a magnum. It's a revolver that fires 6 shots. His ability he's a damage per second character, so his focus is dealing high damage to the enemy player so that you can progress and move the payload forward or capture the objective, whatever you're doing. McCree's special abilities are he can do a roll, and it's a barrel roll that throws off the enemy player and allows you to do a barrel roll. It allows you to roll in and get the better of your enemy players. He also has a flashbang that he throws, and it can stun an enemy player. He has an ability where if you press the left trigger, you will fan the hammer and just rapidly shoot all 6 of the shots in your gun. So a really good strategy is to somersault into a player, stun them, and then fan the hammer. And if they're what we call squishies, which are players that have 225 health or less, if you fan the hammer on a squishy, they will die. And it's really effective. And his ultimate is called High Noon. So you go up to a specific ledge, and if you press the triangle button or Y, whatever console, or on PC, whatever you've got it mapped to on your keyboard or your mouse, his ultimate is High Noon. So basically he focuses on as many enemies as he can. And once it gets to a certain point, you fire the shots and you'll one-hit everybody that's in your vicinity.
Oh, shit.
And
nice.
it's crazy. And each character has unique abilities like this. And I love playing damage, but I'm learning how to play each specific type of character so that I can do better at competitive play, because that's what we've been playing. The higher you go in competitive, the more points and awards you get. The customization in this game is ridiculous. The skins are beautiful, Ash. You have each character has a specific type of voice line. There's a lot of lore that goes into this game too. So at the beginning of each match, depending on what characters you use, they'll have conversations with each other at the beginning, and so you'll get to learn a little bit about their story before the game begins.
Nice.
Now, there's no story or campaign on the game; it's just multiplayer.
Yeah,
but it's so deep and so diverse that it will keep you entertained for hours. There's one session where I started playing with my friends at like 3 p.m. We got off at 4 a.m. the next morning. We were playing Overwatch constantly, and it's just that immersive and that much fun. I absolutely love this game. Ash, if you can get it for PS4, I highly recommend it, because I wasn't good at all when I started, but playing with good people, I learned how to play, and it's just, dude, it's stellar. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of personal experience with Overwatch, so I guess I won't have as much to say on this one, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I do understand that the story, actually, what there is told through like the character scenes, and I've actually seen quite a few of those. There was one where the character who was like a samurai that I really liked, and then there was that one like gorilla character, and there's the one character that's on all the box art, and I forget her name.
The samurai character that is Genji. He is a ninja that wields a sword, but his main weapon is ninja stars that you throw at people.
Or
and
he's
his
actually
abilities,
a ninja, not a samurai.
Yeah, and he throws these ninja stars, and his abilities are he can reflect any. You press the right bumper, and he'll reflect any type of projectile or shot fired at him. And his left bumper ability is to dash and slash. And basically, you dash into an enemy and slash him. And his ultimate is summoning a dragon that imbues his sword, and you can like 1 to 2 slash every enemy. The gorilla character that is Winston. He is the main face of Overwatch. Tracer is the character that you're talking about, the girl with the 2 pistols, the one that can teleport and rewind time for herself. Dude, all of these characters are so much fun to play as, but some of them are very, very difficult to use. Like, you have to spend a lot of time using them in order to become, functional with them.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's a ton of fun, and I highly recommend this game. It's something that I have spent hours upon hours playing, and I will probably spend days playing it more.
I'll need to really get into it, because it's one of those games that a lot of people have talked about in the gaming community.
It's so good. Yeah, that's why I recommended it today, because it's really just multiplayer action, but it's impactful, and it creates bonding experiences with the people that you're playing as, because if you don't work as a team, you will lose 100%. You have to work and be communicating the entire time, because you have to make call outs. It's crazy, and the competitive scene will make you rip your hair out if you don't know what you're doing. So,
all right. Well, my next choice is going to be Naruto: The Broken Bond, developed by Ubisoft. Interestingly enough, so there were 2 Ubisoft-developed Naruto games that were on the Xbox 360. It's kind of its own standalone series, and I gotta say, in terms of play. I mean, I really feel like these are some of my favorite Naruto games. It's either between that and Storm 4, because in terms of like content, overall content, accuracy to the original manga and anime, and just how much there is, and then the story. I mean, Storm 4 is amazing. It's probably the best Naruto game. But something that was unique about Rise of a Ninja and the Broken Bond is, and I've always thought this, is that they dared to say, does Naruto have to be a straight up fighter? And this game is still mostly fighter, but it's an action adventure type game, again, with kind of Zelda elements. And I've always wanted to see that, because not all anime games have to be fighters. And while this one still is, it's not just a straight fighter. There is an overworld. There is, you can have your character use jutsu to solve puzzles. Rise of a Ninja is great. Broken Bond takes everything from Rise of a Ninja and makes it even better. And both games together tell the story of Naruto Part 1, pre-Shippuden. So Rise of a Ninja is from the beginning to the end of the Chunin exams, and then the Konoha invasion arc. This game picks up from there all the way to the end of Part 1 with the Sasuke recovery mission arc. So you've got so you basically got that storyline. You start out with going into the search for Tsunade. Naruto and Jiraiya are on a mission. They find Tsunade. Naruto learns the Rasengan, and then you've got the Sasuke recovery arc where, Naruto and Shikamaru and Kiba and Choji and Neji and Rock Lee are going after Sasuke, right? And culminating in that final battle at the Valley of the End, or the final valley. What also really impressed me about these two games is that they're the only Naruto games that I know in existence that actually use the soundtrack from the anime. I don't know why every Naruto game doesn't want to do it. I guess because of cost reasons, but they refuse to use the phenomenal soundtrack that the series has in favor of these more like generic orchestral arrangements. And what's cool about Naruto is that it's a series that has such an awesome soundtrack that blends together modern instruments with traditional Japanese instruments, and it's so good. And this game actually literally used the soundtrack from the anime, and it was developed by an American studio. It's not Japanese. Broken Bond actually did end up adding a Japanese option for those of us that are weebs and prefer the sub to the dub. But yeah, every character has the unique moves that they can do that can help solve puzzles and are good in the fighting sections. The boss battles are awesome. I love that Naruto can use Sexy Jutsu in combat to confuse the enemy, or Shadow Clone Jutsu to perform kind of a special ultimate attack, or the Rasengan, and then Sasuke has Chidori, and it is so good. And I love that you can explore the Leaf Village, or Konoha, in its entirety, and Naruto can slide on power rails, and you've got this whole explorable world to go through. A lot of the other Naruto games just restrict themselves so much, and this is what a Naruto game needs to be. It's what a Naruto game should be. The combat is fun. It's actually pretty hard, believe it or not. I mean, it is very difficult, and you might end up dying a few times. Some of the boss battles are really difficult.
Oh yeah. I've never personally played this game, but I have played the Ninja Storm games.
Yeah.
And I love Naruto combat games. They're a lot of fun. I love Rock Lee. He's one of my favorite characters. I absolutely love him. But no, what console is this for?
Xbox 360. These games were only on the Xbox 360. Unfortunately, I still have a copy. I still have a 360. Although my copy stopped working, it got scratched when I was playing, for this podcast, and I got through the beginning section of the game, kind of the prologue segment, and then it quit on me, and I was really disappointed. But I played through it again actually fairly recently too, so it's kind of fresh in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thoroughly impressed by everything that this game had to offer. You can what's really cool is you can stock up on like ramen, and then that's what you use as your health. So you can sit down in between battles, and Naruto literally sit down, pull out a bowl of ramen, and eat it real quick.
I love little animations like that. You just kind of it kind of adds a little personal touch.
And you can walk up walls and shit. Like, that was really cool. It was one of the few Naruto games that allowed you to walk on walls and walk on water, like they do in the anime and manga.
I mean, I can do that now. So,
oh shit!
See, watch. I'm just kidding. I don't know if anybody heard that. Did you hear that? Because if you heard it, then everybody else.
And some of the puzzles are cool because like Naruto can use Shadow Clone Jutsu to create a bridge, which characters can run across. Shikamaru can use his Shadow Strangle Jutsu, as they call it in the dub, and he can make a hand that reaches underneath and pulls levers. Kiba can do a similar thing where you can send Akamaru underneath like houses and stuff. Shikamaru can use his Shadow Possession Jutsu. Sasuke can use Sharingan, and this is all done outside of combat and in combat. What's really cool is Naruto can use Sexy Jutsu to impress perverted villagers.
Oh man, yeah, I really have to play this game now.
You got to play this game, and then
just to do sexy jutsu.
Just to do sexy jutsu.
I'm constantly doing sexy jutsu in real life, so like I can't.
I recommend you play
can't hurt.
Rise of a Ninja first, and then the Broken Bond.
Okay.
And Rise of a Ninja is really good because what's really cool is it really actually takes the feel of the anime. And in the beginning, everyone hates you, right? And when you're walking around the Leaf Village, you have villagers walking around with either angry faces or happy faces above their heads, and that indicates your overall popularity. So over the course of the story, and like for instance, the perverted villagers, you win them over by doing sexy jutsu for them. There's ramen delivery missions, which make certain characters happier once they receive their ramen. You can do missions for certain characters, and then just overall through the story, characters will start to like Naruto. And so at the beginning, they're all like, when you're walking down, they'll go away, you're annoying. But then like as you progress, you'll have more and more characters with happy faces, and they'll say, "Hi, Naruto. How are you doing, bud?" While you're walking around. It's character development, and it really shows.
Love it.
Literally shows the rise of a ninja. The Chunin exams are done well, and then the Broken Bond really just continues right where the other game left off, and continues the rest of the story. The village popularity system isn't there anymore because by the end of the first game, you won everyone over. But you have, I think. Every character can level up and level up their stats. And you can go there's a dojo with Might Guy. Guy Sensei will train you.
I like it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, you gotta have games like that progress and give you more playtime by letting you level up the characters, and that just makes for a more interesting and in-depth experience that actually makes it worth the time and money that you've invested.
Yeah,
and those are additions to games that I truly enjoy. So. Yeah, I'll have to hop on that train.
You will. So, final recommendation.
Okay. All right. So, if you'll stop at final recommendation, have we talked about Link's Awakening for the Switch?
I did a bonus round episode on it.
Okay. Has anybody talked about the Master? I have 3 possibilities for my last recommendation. The Master Quest from Ocarina of Time.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So my final recommendation of the day is, since we're coming up on basically February 21st will be the 35th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda. My last recommendation, a lot of people who love the Legend of Zelda series has played Ocarina of Time. But I only recently, within the last 2 years, have played Ocarina of Time Master Quest. And so that is my 5th and final recommendation. The Master Quest adds a level of difficulty to Ocarina of Time that adds another layer of just special love to that game. Ocarina of Time, as we all know, is probably one of the greatest video games of all time. It set the standard for 3D adventure games as we know them today, with the third-person targeting systems and the way battles are happening, collections, and stuff like that. And the Master Quest adds a spin on this that changes the layouts of the dungeons to give you a fresh, new experience, and it makes it so much more difficult. And I love that because that takes a game that we knew and loved as kids and gave us a fresh spin on it. Now, granted, this was released back in 2004 or 5 for the
Something
GameCube.
like that.
It came,
yeah, originally was on the GameCube because for people who pre-ordered the Wind Waker, if I'm not mistaken.
so 2003.
Yeah.
All right. So, but yeah, like this game is amazing, and the Master Quest just makes it even better. I'm sure you've got plenty to talk about regarding Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
But the Master Quest is spectacular. What say you, my friend?
I like it. I actually haven't done a full Master Quest playthrough, but I have played it on the 3DS version. I've done the 3, and which takes an additional step and also mirrors the world in Master Quest, making it even harder. I love how the world is just completely mashed up, and the puzzles and the dungeons are done differently to give you basically a new experience, and the difficulty is scaled to a much different level because you've got puzzles that would normally show up like later in the game, kind of halfway through the game. So basically it's like a dungeon randomizer. It's a really, really good way to extend the playability of Ocarina of Time, which already is one of the most replayable games of all time. I mean, I can go back into Ocarina of Time and play it almost any time and have a great time, but I enjoy that the Master Quest. What I'm trying to say, I enjoy that the Master Quest gives you a new challenge, and I really need to go back and play through it. The Master Quest mode.
I just finished Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, and it was absolutely spectacular. So I can't wait to dive back in and do the Master Quest on the 3DS. I'm really looking forward to that mirrored feel because I played Twilight Princess first on the Wii, and then I went back and got a copy for the GameCube and played it, and it was mirrored because that's how they did it. And it was really, really cool. I like that feeling because it feels like a new world, even though it's just the same thing flipped around. It's spectacular. And if you think for 1 second that Dark Link is hard, play the Master Quest. You'll see what I'm talking about. When I played Ocarina of Time normally on the 3DS, dude, I died to Dark Link like 3 times, and I don't really die in Zelda games.
Yeah.
Like, I rarely die in Breath of the Wild. So this tells you that this mini-boss was done beautifully because Dark Link legitimately mirrors almost everything you do, unless you're using the Biggoron sword, in which case you're a loser and you should rethink your life. But fight him with the Master Sword. Grow some nuts. Do it.
Do it.
No, just
do it.
One of my favorite areas in the Master Quest was probably the Ice Cavern. I love the Ice Cavern in the original game, and the way they just like flip it around and make it different. It's spectacular, It's much more difficult to get to the blue flames.
Yeah.
And you have to be a lot more conservative with them. And because in the original game, if you have 4 empty bottles, you can just fill them all up. But there's so much more red ice in the Master Quest that you have to deal with, and you have to keep going back and keep refilling your empty bottles. And it is rage-inducing. It is terrible. But yeah, that's my final recommendation. I highly recommend it. Ocarina of Time is spectacular, and the Master Quest just adds a level of flair that it didn't necessarily need, but we got it anyways because we were spoiled as kids.
Yes. Ocarina is probably one of my most replayed Zelda games of all. Maybe my most replayed Zelda game I've ever played because, you can pick it up at any time and go through it, and it's always fun no matter what you do. So I would really love to get into Master Quest, and I don't know why I haven't yet. I think I just, in the amount of time it's been, between playthroughs, I'm kind of like, yeah, I want to play Ocarina of Time again. But I never considered doing Master Quest, which is kind of like a new game plus in some ways. Not really, because you don't carry over any items, but you know what I mean. It's a second quest for Zelda, so I would really love to get into that. And I've played a little bit of it. I think maybe I've gotten through the Child Link segment at least in Master Quest. I don't know what stopped me. Maybe I just had other things. And if I'm playing Master Quest, it's usually because I just played the original. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. Ocarina of Time is one of the greatest games ever made, and we will definitely be talking about it later. It is for sure a game that we will have a full episode on, like no doubt. We have to.
It literally set the standard for the Zelda series, and at least for 3D Zelda games. And while Ocarina of Time's not my most replayed Zelda game, I would have to give that to Skyward Sword. Yeah. But it's still spectacular and something that I have a very deep love and appreciation for. And I just finished my bachelor's degree in music, and my teacher, his favorite video game of all time is Ocarina of Time. And so a lot of the times during our trumpet lessons, he would talk about that, and he would literally relate stuff that I would be doing to work on my instrument, the way I play my instrument, to stuff that you did in Zelda. And I love that.
Nice.
It's one of the reasons why I want to go study with him for my master's, because he and I shared both an appreciation for IPAs and Zelda.
IPAs.
So, yeah, oh yeah, dude, I love beer. It's a good time. But yeah, man, that's it for me on the game recommendations. I'm really pumped to hear your last one.
All right, here we go. So you did Zelda. And I feel like this is appropriate. I'm going to do Metroid. I really wanted to do a Metroid game. Our next It's going to pertain to our next episode, but so it actually is a kind of really great timing on this. But I actually planned this out months ago before we decided, and I wanted to talk about Metroid Zero Mission. I felt like it was the game that we're least likely to do a full episode on because it's a remake of the original. But remake, I say that in a really liberally, because it is a complete reimagining of the original game. I mean, it is a completely new game that took the basic layout of the original and the items and the story and completely expanded on it. It's very similar to Metroid Fusion, and it came out shortly afterwards on the Game Boy Advance. So imagine if you took the original Metroid game and you made a Metroid Fusion game out of it, and that's Metroid Zero Mission. Retelling of Samus's original story, and after you defeat Mother Brain, there's a whole other segment featuring Zero Suit Samus, which is where the title Zero Mission comes from. So I really like what they did with it. I love how much more modern Metroid stuff that they put into it. So this game feels very much like Super Metroid or Metroid Fusion in being a 2D side-scroller. I want to say 32-bit graphics.
32-bit. I really, really love Zero Mission. It's one of my, aside from Metroid Prime, because I've played Metroid Prime more times than I can even remember. Aside from that, the Fusion and Zero Mission are two of my most played Game Boy games of all time. Along with Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. That was actually one of my recommendeds in the last list. But Zero Mission is phenomenal to me. I absolutely love that game from the very first time you land on Planet Zebes.
Yeah.
To just all the way through the game where you and you go down and defeat Mother Brain and then head to... I will say that this game has one of the greatest stealth segments in the history of video games.
Yes!
When you get to Chozodia and you lose your power suit because I guess you have a crash landing.
Yeah.
That it's hard. It is very hard to get through that unless you've just done it so many times that you can do it in the blink of an eye. I've seen run-throughs where people get through it in like a minute and 10 seconds.
It's kind of like the SAX segments in Metroid Fusion.
Except a lot harder.
A lot harder, because you don't have access to Samus's weaponry. You can only stun enemies. It's where her Zero Suit moveset from Super Smash Brothers came from. Except her moveset in Super Smash Brothers is actually more powerful than her moveset in this game. And then you get your power suit back, and that's actually... That's where the action all of those unknown items that you collected throughout the game suddenly actually have a meaning. And Samus also gets the traditional design of the Various suit, as we see in Metroid 2: Return of Samus, which originally was that game was in black and white, so changing the color palette, like in the original Metroid, wasn't a choice. So they had to make a design. So this game kind of canonically links those together. And shows you the big shoulder pads and stuff. And I love that after you defeat Mother Brain, there's still more to do. I think that final boss fight is kind of bullshitty, but that fucking robot.
Mecha Ridley, it's not that fun. It's very, very, very anticlimactic for that whole segment. I mean, you get power bombs because like when you're running through as Zero Suit Samus, there's like a little cutscene where you see a pirate holding the power bombs walking above you, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get that soon. And then once you get I do like the little sequence that you have to do to get your power suit back. Like you have to shoot the orbs that the Chozo are holding. It's kind of like a little test to see if you're worthy of that fully powered suit. And those unknown items are dope because you get the space jump. What is it? Not the plasma. Is it the plasma beam?
It's been a while since I've played it all the way through. I was playing it again recently, but I remember when GBA for iOS was a thing was when I did my big playthrough of this game, and I beat it 100%. I got every single item that was in the game, and some of those are hard. You have to do some fucking hard-ass Shine Spark tricks for some of those.
Oh, yeah, dude. The speed booster puzzles in both Fusion and Zero Mission are legendary. Like, some of those stuff, to 100% those games, you really have to know what you're doing. It's tough.
You remember that one alternate sequence that you can get in Fusion with a bunch of Shine Sparking? And it's not required for 100% completion. It's literally just an extra. But if you, like, boost around the entire world, you can access, like, that secret conversation with Adam the computer, right?
I have not done that. I'm going to go on YouTube after this is done, and after I send you that Fallen Order clip, I'm going to check that out, because that sounds dope, and I have never seen that. You're actually making me excited right now.
What? You never heard about that? Yeah, there's a whole secret conversation
No,
you can have.
no,
You
no,
can
no, no.
only access it by speed boosting and doing some tricks that you're not supposed to do in the game and you normally wouldn't do.
All right, so that's settled. I'm getting on my phone after this is done, and I'm gonna go check that out.
Look it up. Look it up. It's like do like speed booster or shine spark puzzle, secret conversation fusion. Like there is yeah. And I've heard about it, and I don't know if I actually have ended up doing it in one of my playthroughs. I actually haven't beat Fusion. I've gotten really, really, really far in it, but I have not beat it yet.
Oh my god, dude, that
know.
holy da, you gotta beat it.
I know
Oh.
it's one of my favorite games. I've never I never had it on when I had my GBA. I guess I never had any Metroid games, and I've since lost my GBA a long, long time ago. I had a Game Boy Advance SP, the flame red color. It was my first portable console I ever got, but yeah, I never did that. So I've only played on emulators, and recently I actually just bought Fusion and Zero Mission on the Wii U Virtual Console. So now I've got good legitimate copies of those. But I will say that both games are definitely recommended to play either on the Virtual Console or on the emulator, just because they're so fucking hard, and being able to reload snapshots makes the experience so much better, which you can do on the Virtual Console as well. I like that they added that functionality that most emulators have, because it's so fucking hard having to go in between save spots sometimes.
I will say that adds a level of difficulty to the game that I highly appreciate.
It's true. It's true.
It's like you have to find a save room in Prime, or yeah. Sometimes you'll find spots in Metroid games where you keep dying is super far away from a save room, and it's tough.
There's a point where it's just frustrating. It's challenging, yes, but it's just not fun anymore.
Yep. You just want to get past it.
Yeah, and being able to skip some of that, I don't really feel like that's so much cheating, because basically you're just skipping you doing the exact same thing again, avoiding frustration. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because eventually it'll get tiresome.
Right. You still have to get through that part of the game at one point. So, and I normally will relegate my snapshots to save stations. I will. And that allows me to reload much faster that way.
Yeah.
But if I'm at a particularly difficult part, like maybe after the second time I die, I'll start like making snapshots in between. It's also nice because you don't have to wait until you get to a save station to beat the game. To quit the game. I remember one time when I was playing Other M, and my dad was like, "Hey, I really need you to get off," and so I was like, "Okay, let me just get to a safe station." Do you remember that one hallway where you keep fighting bosses, and then ultimately, I think that's where you end up fighting Fantoon, if I'm not mistaken?
That's the epilogue, right? Where you go through that long hallway. You can literally just screw attack through the whole thing and kill them all. You know that, right?
Yeah, maybe it wasn't there at the end of the game. I don't remember, but I was in a long ass hallway, and I kept on fighting enemies. I think you could screw attack most of them, but the bosses you can't. And so I had this problem where I literally picked the worst time in the game for my dad to really need me to quit, but I didn't die once. The pressure was on. So I went through that entire hallway inhumanly fast.
That's when you just hit that home button and turn the TV off and be like, "I'll come back to you later, baby."
No, I was determined, dude, and I did it, and I got through it, and it was great. But I guess that's
data recording and shield restoration sequence activated. Sequence complete. Process successful. Shout out to literally the worst Metroid game in the entire series. However, it's still fun.
It's still fun. But I guess that's it for our game recommendations. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Or feedback on your platform of choice. You can find Collateral Gaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pandora, and wherever you get your podcasts. And actually, we're working on getting on even more platforms than before. I just noticed there's a built-in feature in Podbean, which is where we host our RSS feed, that has several different websites listed. So I'm going to make sure that we're on all of those, so that wherever you get your podcast is actually true. But we're expanding. We've got a Patreon. I actually just released some more Patreon stuff. We've got I started the Assassin's Creed 2 playthrough, and I started the uploading. I did it a long time ago, and also our Majora's Mask episode or playthrough. Let's play. I uploaded what I had of that so far too. I'm continually adding to the episodes that we're still doing, like Breath of the Wild. We've got our Zelda CDI episode out, and if you want to just get a feel for what the Let's Plays are like, our Breath of the Wild, not Breath of the Wild, our Fable 3 Let's Play is free. And the first episode of every Let's Play is free as well, giving you guys an opportunity to kind of check out, where this is going. We're also getting together our video podcasts. And do you want to talk about what we're going to be talking about next time following part 2 of Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about on Collateral Gaming, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because for a second I thought you were talking about Collateral Cinema, and I was like, pressure. Okay. So next week, we are going to be talking about our dungeon recommendations for The Legend of Zelda. And I am super excited for that.
Well,
Dungeons,
yeah. We'll talk about in the next bonus round episode, but what's going to be our next main episode?
Okay. Sorry about that. Our next main episode is going to be a 2-parter for Metroid Fusion, baby.
Woo!
Yes, dude. Metroid Fusion is spectacular. This is going to give us a new chance to run back through Fusion again. I'm really excited because I've got a nice emulator on my laptop that runs this baby really nicely. So I'm very, very much looking forward to getting into that again. And today was a blast. Like, I always love recommending video games. It's really fun I just like podcasting, but there's something special about giving you guys a list of games to go check out, because not only does it allow us to reminisce a little bit, it gives us a chance to share it with you, because if you haven't played them, you should.
You should, yeah. I love recommendations episodes, and we'll have more of these to come because it gives us a chance to talk about those games that maybe we weren't necessarily going to do a full episode on, but we really want to talk about. And it's games from our childhood, games that we're currently playing, just anything we recommend, and maybe some things that you might not have heard of that are kind of obscure. So I think it's an awesome chance to get into that, and it's a fantastic recommendation it's a fantastic use of the bonus round episodes. And yes, our next bonus round episode is going to be a Zelda game, Zelda Dungeons recommendations. That was actually one of Zach's ideas, and we love talking about Zelda. We love talking about Metroid. We seem to always want to return to those on the bonus round, but you know what? Fuck it. This is our bonus round. This is what we want to do with it. So
Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, Jesus.
But yeah, we're kind of running over here. We're going on an hour and a half, which is long for a bonus round episode, but fuck it. We had a lot to talk about, and we really geeked out. Anything else to add for our audience?
Man. The only thing I'd say is just if you want, once I get it all set up and ready to go, come check out my pages and my uploads when I get really involved with Zelda Dungeon. I'm super excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of news and stuff. And keep your eyes peeled for Zelda news, because we are amidst one of the greatest years in Zelda yet, the 35th anniversary, and I am super pumped to see what happens, because Zelda. So so yeah, Zelda.
Fuck yeah, dude. All right, man. Well, I've been Ashley Chancellor.
And I will continue to be Zachary Gio.
And we are Collateral Gaming. We are out, motherfuckers. Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.